VB, are we as good reporters as we think with some of the clapping going on out there in the middle? A few debutants this weekend?
Yeah, look, you guys would have seen it's a pretty exciting time of year, especially when you get to announce some guys playing their first games for the footy club. So Josh Rochelli, Jake Saligo and Jordan Dawson will be playing their first games on Sunday, albeit provided they pull up well from training today, and it's only Wednesday, we don't play till Sunday, but intention is for them to play their first games, which is great for Dawes and the two draftees. They really haven't put a foot wrong all pre-season, so it's really exciting. They're a good part of, a massive part of our future moving forward.
When did Rochelli lock it in all honesty? When did he probably lock it in? Was it the first training session?
No, it definitely wasn't that early. But no, we've seen glimpses every training session over summer, and Jake as well, in terms of just they've got an element of poise about him. And when they came to the footy club, our head of recruiting, Hamish Ogilvie, said to the boys, they've got all these traits, but they can just play footy, and they are genuine footballers. They've got good game sense, good skill. Yeah, they're only young, so they're not going to be at the level they're going to be in 3 or 4 years, but what they've brought to the group is this new enthusiasm, and you've seen with Josh the last couple of weeks, he's been able to hit the scoreboard, and he's got a level of talent that we want in our side.
Probably most unsurprised that Josh is, David, given how highly rated he is, but with Jake Saligo, are you surprised that he's actually, I guess, got him here for round one?
No, I'm not, to be honest. We sort of had a few of us coaches had an eye on him back end of last year. The recruiter said, have a look at a few kids, and we saw Jake. He played a senior game at VFL level, and we watched some of his underage stuff, and we just liked the way he, I guess, held his own out in the field, and some of his footy decisions, which you can't teach. And then as soon as he came in the door, he's an ultimate pro. And he's had an impact in different ways to what Josh has, and he plays different roles. He's playing inside, wing, forward as well, so he's adding different strings to his bow. But yeah, he's a ripper, and looking forward to seeing him play on the weekend, and hopefully for many more years to come for us.
What was their reaction today?
Yeah, Josh was pretty excited. He just said he spoke to his parents, and he said Dad got pretty emotional, which he was a bit surprised about. And Jake, just seeing the look on his face down there, because I think there's part of Jake, he wasn't sure if he was even going to get drafted to a certain degree compared to Josh, and just the grin on Jake's face was priceless, and it takes you back to your first game and that feeling of. I asked him, what's the biggest crowd you've played in front of? And he said, 2 weeks ago against Port was the biggest I've played in. So we're going to have a much bigger crowd here on Sunday with all our fans, and they're just excited, which is great to see.
Can you tell us inside the huddle, BB?
Yeah, so we. What's that? Sorry.
What did Nixie actually say?
Oh, it was a reward for effort for those guys, and it's important to acknowledge in front of the whole group, just to say, hey, this is what's going to happen, all things going well towards the weekend, that they're going to play. And there was also, you guys would have seen an acknowledgement of 3 guys that are hopefully again going to play for us this weekend, that have had some interruptions over the last couple of years in Wayne Miller, Mitch Hinge and Matty Crouch. And it's around the team environment to say, hey boys, put in the work, you've put yourself up for selection now, and want to reward you in front of everyone. So it's good for our culture, it's good for the boys, and yeah, good reward for effort.
Get to Miller in a sec. Can I just ask about Dawson specifically?
Yep.
What did you see from him today that gave you the confidence that he's ready to go without playing a pre-season game?
Yeah, I've seen more than enough of Dawson over pre-season, and yeah, he's had a hiccup the last few weeks. Albeit he's actually done a fair bit of training the last probably 2.5 weeks. Full trained on Monday with us, and back into last week was almost knocking on the door saying, yeah, I'm feeling good, I'm back to where I want to be. And he was always of the mindset he wanted to be able to main train this week, which we wanted as well, and he moved really well. He's been really confident in his body for a good week and a half, 2 weeks now. So for a young guy, he's super mature, and he trained well enough to say, yeah, we want him and need him in our side this week.
He was around the ball a bit, and then he got up and down the wing as well. Do you know how you use him the best?
Yeah, he'll play a variety of roles for us. He's got the ability to play inside, outside. Probably didn't play inside as much at Sydney, but he's shown over summer that he's got the capability and the size and craft to do it. So we definitely will use him at times inside. We know what he can do on a wing, behind the ball, and we'll even use him ahead of the ball. So he's going to be here, there and everywhere, which for some players can be a bit odd. I don't know about that, but he loves the fact that he can play a variety of roles and can I guess, fill gaps for us if we need him to. So yeah, on the weekend I'd say he'd play predominantly through the midfield for us.
What was the emotion around Junior's return? Confirming he's playing in the ones?
Yes, he will play.
Just talk us through a difficult couple of years for him, and what was the reaction like for him?
Yeah, it's for someone like probably Nixie. Nixie hasn't seen him play a lot, if at all, over the last couple of years. So it's almost like a new player, and he's a pretty handy new player to have available. And we're not expecting Junior to light the world on fire for us, but we do know, and you would have seen it at training today, when we get the ball in his hands and he's a part of our system, he makes us significantly better. So it's really pleasing for him to be able to get through, I guess, the troubles and injuries that he's had the last couple of years, and he's got real confidence in his body, which is really pleasing for a guy that's been through what he's been through, to sit there and almost come knocking on your door and say, I'm ready. That's really pleasing. So he adds a different dynamic to our back line, to our midfield, and he can play forward as well. So he's one of those guys that we can move around, but with the likes of him and Dawson, they add that extra bit of polish to our game.
On Dawson, was there ever any thinking that he might not be right for round one, or you maybe don't bring him back? Bring him round one to make sure he's right for the rest of the season. Yeah, there was definitely planning around that, and we're not in any way rushing him back because it's round one. We understand it's a long year, and round two's next week. We've got a couple of 6-day breaks coming up, but he ticked all the boxes that he needed to, and hopefully he pulls up well with Junior, with Matty, with the guys that I've mentioned, and provided they all pull up well, they'll pull on the Guernsey for us on Sunday. Mitch Hinge, I guess what do you think his role's going to be on Sunday?
What his role's going to be? Yeah, so Hingy will play, again, probably wing, half back is where we've used him predominantly, and he's that good size where he can mix it in and around the ball, but also behind plays a genuine half back or a third tall for us. So probably picked up. There's a bit of versatility with those guys that I've mentioned that are going to play for us, which you need in the modern game, and Hingy gives us a different dynamic with his penetrating left foot, and he's got good game sense as well. So good reward for effort for Hingy after playing round one last year and then obviously having the shoulder recon. So pleasing to see him out there on the weekend too, hopefully.
Does that show the faith that the club's had in the sort of character he is right from the start? I think he was only on a 1-year deal maybe last year and hurt himself in round one, but it seemed like straight away that it was like, this isn't the end for Mitch at Adelaide. Yeah, no, not at all. He's, as I said before, his character and personality, if you've spent any time with Mitch, he's a quality young man, as is the rest of the guys I've spoken about today, and that's what we've been a big part of how we've tried to recruit the last few years, is get good characters into the footy club so that when the chips are against them, they're going to dig the heels in and get themselves back and still contribute to the group, which Mitch did last year, Matty did last year, Junior's done the last couple of years, and then you bring in the likes of Geordie Dawson, who is no doubt going to be a big part of our future moving forward from a leadership sense as well. Good people make your place better, and it makes it easier to keep them around and select them when times like this weekend come around. How much better do you think your forward connection can be this season with users like Wayne and Dawson back in the start?
Yeah, it definitely does help, and as I said, we've probably the mix and what's been a bit of our MO the last couple of years has been our ability to bring the fight in the game, and that's what we're looking to try and build on this year, is bring that heat around the footy and contest behind and ahead of the ball, which we were reasonably consistent at last year, and then it's a challenge for us in how we can, add a bit more polish to our game, and those guys will certainly help us with that, as well as our method in and around the ball with our ball hunters. So a combination of both hopefully will help with our forward connection for sure.
If you look at other clubs and you sort of take their best forward out, there is some cover. Hippleton, Danaher, for example, and even Hawkins and Cameron. Is losing Tex the gap to your next best forward? Is that as big as one that exists in the AFL? You feel like you're confident you've got the cover for someone who was your leading forward last year? Yeah,
it's interesting. We're at completely different stages to Geelong and where Brisbane are at in terms of their list build, etc. And but we're more than happy and love where our forward group's at. Our key forwards in particular, they're young and they're still growing and maturing into their roles, but they're going to be, confidently can say they're going to be serious players for us moving forward, and Tex is going to be a massive part of their development. He already is. He's like a second coach alongside James Rayleigh in terms of how he mentors them and helps them, and they've got a great opportunity for the first 3 weeks without Tex being available to be able to put their foot on the forward line and what position they want to hold, because there's going to be spots still up for grabs, which is healthy for us. And we would like to see, down the track that those guys certainly go, whether they get good enough to go past Tex, we'll wait and see, but at least challenging, pushing him to have that competition for spots, because those sides that you mentioned, they do that.
Based on terms, is it just a hard cover though, mate? Like, in practical terms, you take out your best forward, it's going to hurt most.
Yeah, and it does. You take out your best player. I mean, you can sit there and say, from last year, this weekend was going to be no Laird, no Walker, no Seedsman for us, who arguably were three of our most important players last year. But it is what it is. We believe we've got depth to cover Tex, Laird in and around the ball with some different personnel and some other ball hunters, and then we just got to find a way. There's going to be different challenges this year, as you've speaking to other clubs as well, in and around the health and safety protocols, fixturing, no doubt. But if anything we've learned over the last couple of years, it's just you just got to get on with it and not dwell on it too much.
A lot of excitement around round one for the fans in particular. Do you think they'll be excited by the brand of football that you're playing on Sunday?
That's our plan, Jody. Yeah, it certainly is to show the improvement from where we were at last year. And I think looking at our most competitive games and our best games last year was we played at an intensity for 4 quarters, which kept us in the fight. It didn't guarantee that we were going to win every game, but I think our fans were able to walk away from most games to say, I can see what we're building and see what we're about. And now our next step forward is to continually improve and build on that, and hopefully add a bit of that polish that we were talking about before, and also, I guess, show a few other elements of our game, a few other new players that might complement our game. So hopefully they see a broad level of improvement across the board, which is pretty generic for you, but hopefully that's what they're excited by.
Do you think we're going to see, a raft of 50-metre penalties, this week? Or do you think they've learned from...
Hopefully not from us.
Yeah,
hopefully not from us. No, it's, look, the umpires, each year there's different rule interpretation changes that we, as players and coaches, have to adapt to week to week. And interestingly, the one around dissent to an umpire, that's really important that that's stamped out of not only AFL level but also lower grades, because they do such an awesome job for all grades of footy, whether it be Auskick all the way through junior levels and state league levels. So we need to make sure we're very respectful for them, because it's a bloody tough job. I umpired cover outlets out there for us today, and I get yelled at for not doing a couple of decisions here and there. Maybe I do have my favourites, but it's a tough gig, so we've got to be very respectful for the role they play, because they're important.
And just on Jake, do you think, he obviously has to perform on Sunday, but do you think he's going to get a bit of a run in the side to show what he can do? Or
who was that, sorry? Jake Saligo. Yeah. So Jake, you would have seen he's played a bit forward for us and on the wing the last couple of weeks. So the final makeup of what that side looks like going into Sunday will work out over the next couple of days, but he's going to be pulling the jumper on for us, which is pretty exciting.
What is sort of 45, 50,000, whatever number you get on Sunday, what does that mean to you, to the players, to the club?
Oh, it's exciting, because it hasn't happened for a long period of time now, and it's not that we're at the end of it yet with this pandemic, but it's exciting that we can get back to some normality, and especially in South Australia, footy's a way of life, and for our fans to be able to come and support their boys and see a few new fresh faces, which we've spoken about today. I just want them to come on down and see the product that we're about, and get back to this fortress that we've got here at Adelaide Oval, because it's super exciting. And speaking to a few of the young guys, talking about how special it is when it's a full house, I want them to see it on Sunday.
What difference does that make to a player?
Oh, it makes a difference. I even said to Jake Saligo, I said, when you run out for the first time on the weekend, you run out and you'll get these tingles on your back, and the fireballs will go off, and the crowd, and you have to stop and take it in, because it does help you rise, and it does give that extra bit of lift when you need it most. So you miss those moments now that you're not playing, but exciting to see young kids like Jake who've earned the right, Josh who's earned the right to now carry that baton forward.
Based off match, we're going to see, 3 calls of Riley, Darcy and Elliott at this stage?
Yeah, most likely we'll see that. Yeah, most likely we'll see that at different stages.
It's a long time ago now, but is there a way that you can harness or look back at how you were able to start the season so well last year, similar conditions against a white flag favourite?
Yep.
And come out and sort of blow cats off the park. What went so well at the start of last year that you can take into this season?
Probably what I spoke about before, to be honest. Like, if you look back at the way that we went about our footy at the early parts of the year, and for large parts of the year was intensity around the footy. Our contest work was very good, and we're able to get the ball out to our distributors. Like I mentioned, Paul Season before had a really breakout year off the back of our strong contest work. So that was probably what kept us in the fight for those games in particular, and for most games throughout the year. So that's what hopefully our fans will sit there and say, I know that we bring a level of intensity to the way that we play, and hopefully they can start to see the different elements of, I've called it polish today, so polish that tidy things up for kicking more goals.
Do you have any idea as a club how far away Seed is?
No, he was doing some run-throughs today, and he's a slow progression for us, but he is progressing through the concussion protocols, and it's great to see him today doing his strides and building. So, yeah, there's no time frame on that yet.